Hi everyone, it's JP from the Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast, and firstly, thank you for coming back and listening to some of our earlier episodes. We really want to welcome you here. I do have to put out a disclaimer though that our audio quality on some of our earlier episodes is, well, it's a bit crap. It's just not up to scratch due to being noobs and messing up and basically getting microphone settings wrong, which you'll hear all about in episode 4. We've made the decision to keep these episodes in our list for continuity purposes, and it's important to remind ourselves how we started, but if the quality does put you off, don't worry, it's all good. Feel free to jump straight to episode 4 where it gets a lot better. And we'd love to have you join us and listen in. Thanks again, and more importantly, welcome to the group. Welcome to Whose Turn Is It Anyway, a podcast all about our gaming group and of course board games. I'm JP, your current first player, and in this episode I'm joined by our other players Ian and a new player Kris, and we're going to talk about hints and tips in setting up your own gaming group. How's everyone doing today?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, good.
Welcome, Kris.
A little bit nervous, but I'm here.
Yeah, first time podcasting?
First time podcasting.
It's all good.
Be gentle.
He's a podcast version, people.
And we're breaking him in gently. Well, but no, welcome, Kris, to the show. And what we're going to do is ask you a couple of questions, just so that you can introduce yourself properly.
So when should I start shining the bright light in his eyes?
Right about now. Do it now. So the first thing, Kris, what we ask is how did you get into the hobby? And what kind of gamer are you? What kind of player are you?
Having listened to the first episode when you introduced yourselves, there were some common themes that I noticed in that I played Monopoly when I was little.
Yeah.
And it was a family thing. It was a great experience then, and obviously now we've moved on from that. But I'm really competitive person, whatever I do. So I just love games. I mean, I should have them. So yeah, I'm getting into it. Again, there was another theme that I noticed that everyone mentioned that JP got them into the gaming group, into the games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it feels like we're in a bit of a cult here.
Yeah, I did own up to it though, didn't I?
That's it. That came up last episode as well. This is a cult. We're all accepting that now. We're just going to lean into it.
Accept it.
Embrace
There's no other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the way.
So yeah.
And you keep saying that. You keep telling us that your way is the only way. And
absolutely.
As much as we try and argue against it, you're very forceful.
I will set up games and you will turn up to them.
Yeah, I know.
I will put in my first Star Wars reference and just say this is the way.
It's nice.
I love all things sci-fi. And JP introduced me to, which game was it? The Star Wars Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And we played that and I loved it. And then the rest is history.
Rest is history, and you are pretty much, even before the gaming group was set up, me and you were kind of dabbling on the fringes right before the birth of the idea, because we were playing Star Wars Rebellion and numerous times, and you were kind of my gateway in, to be honest, Kris. I was like, I've got this great Star Wars game. Who do I know?
Don't blame me.
Yeah, no, it's your fault. I was going to say, hang on a minute. So yeah, Kris is saying that it's JP's fault. JP is saying it's Kris's fault.
It's completely my fault.
Oh, okay.
But
he enabled you.
Exactly. It was at a time where I started to get back into the hobby, and I was finding these games, as I mentioned on the first episode, from Fantasy Flight. I seem to be buying all the Fantasy Flight's back catalogue from 2017 or 2016, and I saw Star Wars Rebellion and thought, I know I would like this.
So that is it. I think you actually specifically targeted me.
Absolutely.
Because you knew I couldn't say no to Star Wars game.
Yeah, it's like, Kris, do you want to play a board game? Not really. It's Star Wars themed. Oh, all right then.
Yeah. So it's definitely sort of, targeted.
Cool. So what's your favourite kind of game or games ever, and what have you been enjoying kind of recently?
Well, the Rebellion has a soft spot for me.
Mm-hmm.
The game we're going to probably reference occasionally is Battlestar Galactica, because that was the first game I bought.
Sorry, we're laughing because for those who have listened to our intro episode, we highlighted that we can't really talk about Battlestar Galactica and you without you being there. But whether we get into it today is a different matter.
It's a long story, but I really love the dynamics of that game.
Would you say there's anything that can kind of ruin those dynamics?
No.
Oh,
I mean, pretty much you can do anything. It's carte blanche.
No matter what you do,
and you can almost just add to the game by just just tweaking the rules or adding in a few cards or something.
Yeah. Too many Cylons.
Yeah. You can never have too many Cylons.
I beg to differ.
And I did look at my game pile with this in mind, and most of my games are movie references and movie tie-ins.
Like IPs, basically.
Yeah, you love a franchise.
So yeah, I'm a sucker for that.
I also like that you store your games in a pile. That's quite unique. Like most of these guys are like big into Kallax and organisation.
Yeah.
You've just got a pile. That's
I've got the Kallax, and then I put the pile next to the Kallax.
Right.
And it mainly just to annoy JP.
And it does, he's right.
Just every day he sends you a photo of an empty Kallax with a pile of games next to it.
But different size games on top of others. Just don't organise them in alphabetical order.
JP's just got a big vein popping out of his head at the moment. And hearing all of this.
And I don't even bother popping the cardboard.
Oh, don't stop it! I can't listen to this anymore.
But recently we've been playing the Nemesis. And I really like that, but that has throwbacks to Battlestar Galactica too. So I think it's just the dynamic of the game.
It's the whole semi-co-op element, isn't it? So like with Battlestar Galactica, for those that don't know about the game, which some people might not have heard of it, and it's been recently reskinned as Unfathomable by Fantasy Flight, is essentially, it's one of those games where you all play a part of the crew, and some of you may or may not be Cylons. These kind of like artificial robot-y kind of people.
Yeah,
I've seen the show.
They're sort of like clones, but sort of robots as well.
Absolutely,
kind of thing.
Yeah. It's I don't know I'm not a massive PSG.
I've never watched the show, but the crux of it is that Cylons don't necessarily know that they're a Cylon, right? Yeah. So it's like they think that they're humans.
Yeah. They've been enjoying Nemesis, and that's me, I guess.
Cool. Well, that's great to have you here. Like I say, we said this on the intro episode. We're probably going to get other kind of members on the group kind of jumping in on the different episodes, different shows to talk about different things. So it's just really good to kind of mix it up a bit, right? Apart from you, Ian, because you were here last time.
I know, it's like I feel like I'm a staple now, but I think I'm not in the next two episodes.
I don't think so.
People don't have to worry, they're not going to get sick of me. I mean, they're already sick of me, but
fair enough.
But we'll get you back, Chris, for a Battlestar episode. Yeah, then we can go into some real detail about Battlestar Galactica and the rules.
There's no point asking me, is there? I have no clue what the rules are.
I like the concept that we're just never going to actually explain this Battlestar anecdote. We'll just kind of keep alluding to it without ever really explaining what Chris did.
Yeah,
because he knows what he did.
It's a bit like the Gavin and Stacey fishing trip.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Battlestar Galactica is your fishing trip.
What happened on that fishing trip? No one knows. No one's never going to know.
There's a special corner of shame around here somewhere for me.
So, let's talk about Hex, which is all about what games we've got to the table recently, or semi-recently, because it's obviously new into the podcast and episodes. We might be able to extend a bit further back if we need to.
I was going to say, looking at the notes you've kindly prepared for us, we might have to, because none of the events that you've listed I actually made it to, so I'm going to have very little input on all of this.
Nor Chris.
Me neither, yeah.
Yes. Well planned, JP.
It's all good. It's all good. So yeah, looking back at our kind of event list and what's been going on in the group, the first one I was there was Too Many Bones, unsurprisingly.
Of course. I mean, you've got to justify the spend, haven't you?
I did say I have to keep those play counts high.
I have to say, from listening to the first podcast, I want to play Too Many Bones now because of the way you guys talked about it. They're like, not
in the bath.
Well, not in the bath. No. Maybe in the hot tub.
In the hot tub, yeah. It could easily work. If you
how's your hot tub working out? You enjoying it?
Yeah, it's it's
where you go with the side of questions.
This is a family show, yes.
So yeah, going back to Too Many Bones then.
Oh yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, so we got a game of it was actually the Undertale expansion with Adrian and Davey. We had a quick. It's never quick, but we had.
When was the last time you had a quick gaming session?
Well, Too Many Bones. There isn't such a thing really.
It's like let's have a quick game of Twilight Imperium. Just while we're waiting for dinner to be ready.
Just knock out a 6-hour game. It'd be fine.
How long does Too Many Bones go on?
It depends because it depends on what tyrant you pick, which is like the boss, and that dictate kind of how long. Also depends on the player count. So with a free player, it's kind of in the middle of the road. But I did pick Barnacle, which is a shorter tyrant. I won't go too much into Too Many Bones. That's going to be on a future episode.
Ooh, little tease.
Ooh. But yeah, we played as 3 of the gear locks, which are the characters. We had Stanza, Duster, and Dart. And yeah, it was just really good fun. Adrian's not played before, so it was his first experience into it. I think he enjoyed it. I'm sure he did. If not, he'll contradict me on a future episode.
Exactly.
And Davey's played many times. Davey loves the characters that, in his words, because give me the most complex and janky character, and I will try and figure them out. He loves all that, and there are a few of them. So.
Yeah, I mean, when Davey does his first episode and gets introduced, we'll learn that very quickly about him. That complexity is his friend.
He loves it.
He absolutely loves a little engine build, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, so
I want to give Too Many Bones a go as well. I think next time there's an event up, I'm definitely going to get registered for that because if nothing else, just the components look really nice and tactile.
Definitely.
I don't care about the game. It's just if the piece
game's awful,
nice.
But it looks amazing. But no, so we got that to the table, which is always a joy. And War of the Ring. War of the Ring was great to see actually being kind of put up on the event. I know it's a 2-player game, Lord of the Rings. The 3 people versus the shits.
Yeah, it's very well reviewed, isn't it?
It's brilliant,
pretty highly acclaimed. I know because it's Curly who bought it, wasn't it? And I know that as soon as he saw the reviews, he was like, "I have to have this."
It's thematic as hell because you are playing obviously the good side with the Fellowship, and you're trying to get Frodo through Mordor and to Mount Doom and doing all his usual shenanigans, and then obviously you've got Sauron on the other side who's trying to stop him, and it's just the way it works together. Lots of battles, lots of armies clashing and different things, and it's fantastically deep. And I've played it about 2 or 3 times, and again I think Adrian's got one of those scratch top 50 games that you're trying to complete.
Kind of like not like an advent calendar, but like a wall chart, kind of tick them off kind of thing.
And I think some of these, like Great Western Trail was on there, War of the Ring was on there, so they're the reasons why they've kind of hit the table.
And it's a little bit asymmetric as well, right? Because it plays differently if you're the Fellowship versus the bad guys. Love an asymmetric.
Different win conditions, you're trying to corrupt Frodo, and obviously the Fellowship can win by destroying the ring, and other ways of just dominating the whole kind of Middle Earth map. And it's a beautiful game.
Yeah, it does sound good. I'll have to give it a go sometime.
Just don't set it up.
Is that the key?
The key is
ring it up and say, "I'll be there in 2 hours. Have it ready to go."
Absolutely, because it is a beast. It's a beast.
I did when I saw the Shut Up and Sit Down video about it. It looked involved.
Yeah,
lots of pieces. Yeah, lots of things to put in places.
It warrants a lot of plays. It warrants a few goes, because even I've not even scratched the surface with my 3 plays of it, and I'd probably argue that probably Curly hasn't. Probably not got it to the table, and it's why it's really good to see it hit the table because it's been so long.
It is a tricky one to get to the table, like you say, because it's 2-player. Like it's always a bit like we tend to organise a lot of games that are 4 or 5 or even 6 or more players because it just suits a group better. But I also love a 1v1 game,
as we know. Netrunner, Crokinole.
Well, this is it. I was going to say, like, there's a lot of similarities there. Like Netrunner's asymmetric and 1v1, same as War of the Rings. So yeah, I'll have to give it a go sometime.
The setup in Netrunner is a lot faster.
Well, it depends. I mean, how long are you going to spend building your deck,
No, you do that for me.
Yeah, I know, right? I just bring along 3 more decks and go, there you go.
Yeah, and the last game I've got on my list was Mansions of Madness, which was round Tambo's house. So me, Becky and Tambo had a pre-player of Mansions.
Tambo loves a bit of Mansions, doesn't he?
Loves Mansions. And again, I don't know if you guys have played.
I haven't. It's FFG, right? So and there's some similarities with Arkham.
Well, it's part of the Arkham Files universe.
Oh, okay. So thematically linked.
Yeah,
but mechanically
slightly different. So it's probably got most in common with the card game, although Mansions of Madness came first, and then you've obviously got Arkham Horror, the board game, and but Mansions is very much kind of focused on, as it by its namesake, either a mansion or a setting specifically that you have to go and explore.
Right.
Similarly, you're going to go insane. You're going to have horror inflicted upon you. You're going to get
all that
damage,
good stuff.
All that good, like,
you're going to go insane. You're going to have horror inflicted upon you. It's going to be a great time for everyone.
It sounds like a normal gaming night.
Yeah.
It's the same as if we play Captain Sonar. It's no different. You go insane. There'll be horror inflicted upon you. Yeah.
That bit I did enjoy.
I feel like at some point we should like live stream a Captain Sonar game and force Rob to play the engineer.
I love that. I think that's...
No, not the engineer. I keep getting it wrong. The radio operator.
Yes. And then just play it wrong, just so he loses.
Oh, and I'll be the captain on the other side going north. Are we going north? Is it north or north? North, right? Or east north?
Yeah,
love it.
We'll do that. But no, so Mansions was good. We played the scenario where you're on a train and you kind of interact with different people. And for those, again, that don't know, Mansions of Madness 2nd edition comes with an app. And the app kind of controls the mythos, the bad stuff that's happening, and controls all the enemies that are kind of coming onto the board and things like that, which was different to 1st edition, which used to have a player that has to do all of that.
Oh, almost like a dungeon master kind of role.
Okay. So it kind of takes that away and makes it full, kind of a full co-op game. So we played that.
Was this the scenario you were talking about where it was like train carriages were getting like sucked into a portal and stuff?
Yeah.
It sounded quite cool.
Yeah, so we, all the cars are kind of getting sucked away into the portal. You have to kind of hop off into platforms, and it's kind of... So mechanically, the way the board's shifting around, it all makes sense. You're on a train.
Yeah.
And, trying to investigate what's going on. And it was just really good fun to play. I've not played it for years. That's kind of on my list. So what about you guys?
Yeah, well, we were trying to think, weren't we, Chris? What was the last gaming event we actually got to? I'm sure I played something around here not too long ago, but I'm scratching my head.
Dune Imperium.
We played Dune Imperium. That was really good. I like that a lot. Actually, you've got another night coming up soon, which I couldn't make, but I'll definitely make the next one. Yeah, Dune Imperium was really good. I think that combination of worker placement and deck builder, it worked really nicely, and it didn't feel too overwhelming. Like a lot of games, I remember even like the first time I played like Lords of Waterdeep, even that, if you've never played that kind of worker placement game, or if you've not played games similar to it, then your first few plays is kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like hoping for things to work out. With Dune Imperium, it felt like everything sort of came together quite quickly. We played, 3 games that night? And it was good because, that first game still had an element of that because we were all still learning, what kind of cards are there? What do the different spaces do?
Should I buy every card in the shop?
Yeah. What resources do I actually need? Should I save up and try and get something big? All that kind of normal stuff. But by the second and third games, we all had our own play styles. We were like, right, I know what I'm going to do. Yeah. And you kind of get screwed over as you go through because that's just the nature of it. So you get the normal frustration and horrors inflicted upon you and you go mad. But it was really fun, like even by second or third play, which for me is great because like I said last episode, learning games is like my least favourite thing.
You like to know what I need to do.
I need to be clear on what am I trying to do so that I know that I've done it badly.
Yeah. I can't think what else you've been at.
It's been a while. I've been really busy recently, to be fair, which is why it's not a good time for me to be on the podcast, probably. But here we go. I'm here now.
Yeah, sorry, listeners, but you've got him. And
this is the content you got to live with.
Yeah, he was the only one available.
No one else wanted to come and sit in JP's shed and record this.
Yeah,
you have a choice.
He paid me, man. He paid me.
No one gets a choice. All right, you, Chris.
Like we were talking about before, I think it was travelling games, the movie. Yeah. The Saboteur. What was the other game we played? It was card based.
Because you went on a snowboarding trip, didn't you? So I had a few games with you.
Yeah, we went. A couple of months ago to France.
Again, that could be like another special edition travelling games we could do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be a good episode.
Absolutely. Hearts, was it?
Love Letter.
Love Letter.
Yeah. Oh, Love Letter's great.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant pub game.
Yeah.
Love Letter at the pub. That and Skulls.
Skulls,
fantastic.
Basically, all you need is some beer mats.
Yeah.
Really.
It's the fact that you don't even need to buy the game. You can just play it with beer mats. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so Saboteur, just again, for people that may not have heard that one, because to be fair, it caught me by surprise. I never really heard of it before. It's quite an old game. It's got that hidden role element in there.
Okay.
And you are dwarves kind of mining through tunnels trying to get to the gold, but because you're greedy little dwarves, you want the gold for yourself. And if you're the first to get to the gold, you get the first dibs of trying to pick out the most gold possible to get these cards. But one of you may or may not be the saboteur, and they get their gold from sabotaging everyone else's plans.
Right.
So you kind of want to work with people so far, and then you want to kind of destroy their tunnels and cause havoc,
but presumably without them cottoning on to the fact that you are completely ruined.
Because they'll just break your tools and you can't do anything, and it's like, but it plays lightning fast. So you're playing rounds that are, 5-10 minutes long max?
Right.
And so even if you don't know what you're doing, by 10 minutes you'll get it and you're straight into the next round. And
we had 2 newbies with us, didn't we? And they were being quite ruthless come the end.
Complete non-gamers who were realising, actually, I'm going to kind of, navigate near the gold and then just let other people do the work and then snaffle it, because you can see how many turns it would take to get to it, and all the different layouts. All the cards are different tunnels with different shapes on there. Some are cross sections, some are like left bends, right bends, and you only get so many in your hand that you're trying to work through. So it becomes quite puzzly. But yeah, it's a fantastic little game. Cost about 12 quid.
Yeah,
and probably worth it to have in anyone's collection, and it's a perfect travel game.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of like hidden role games that work the same sort of way, that are really good, like as party games, or as travel games, or just light games that anyone can get involved in. Thinking of things like Avalon and all of the many derivatives of Avalon. Because there's like
talk for hours about Avalon.
Avalon's great. Again, when we get Davey on, we'll obviously talk about Avalon.
Yeah, brilliant. There we go. That's pretty much what's hit the table over the last 3 months.
Maybe we had enough to talk about, despite most of us not being at most of these events. We've done quite well there, I think.
It's all good. It's all good. Right. So let's talk about the main topic then. It's all about gaming groups, setting gaming groups up, and how you kind of go about doing that. So
me and Chris are going to go make a cover then. You can just, you got this one covered, Jake.
I'll just waffle on for about 20 minutes. No, I think it's important actually. You two are here because you were pretty much the couple of early members that kind of joined in the gaming group. And actually, as I said at the start of the episode, Chris was kind of in the gaming group before it was the official gaming group.
Yeah, I mean, Chris must be, apart from you, the first member, technically.
Yeah.
Because, U2 Gaming was the chrysalis from which...
Chrysalis?
Yeah. I didn't even realise I'd done that.
Yeah.
Okay. With a K, yeah.
Is it wrong that I feel dirty now, though?
No.
You have to share some of the blame.
Yeah.
You might not have been the instigator, but again, you were the enabler.
I have this doll, and I can show you where you touched me.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. But no, I think let's talk about kind of why I set it up, maybe, and then
to lure in followers,
absolutely,
of course, to grow your cult.
We've got a box of tissues.
It's got to get deep, isn't it? No, in all seriousness, I didn't even know this hobby existed in the extent that it did at the time, even 6 years ago. I've heard of board games, we've all played the usual tropes of, Monopoly and Cluedo and all the other fantastic, amazing games that are out there. But it wasn't until kind of we moved down away from kind of my hometown, and then I realised I had this massive void in my life of friendship, and then tried to fill that void, and living somewhere completely new, not really knowing many people, and not really having any hobbies. I would say to kind of fill that.
Just to get out the small vibe.
Yeah.
Well, you're editing this. You can put some sad background music in for that part. I've reached a low point in my life.
Yeah, but no, it's just one of the things that we used to have friends that come down and visit on weekends, and when they come down, we would just do the usual things. We'll watch a film and no one talks for 2 hours, and then they'll go home, and you think, what we've done is kind of seen them. We do stuff in the day, and then we just don't talk.
You just sort of sat in the same room.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, let's not lie. Sometimes when we board game, it's a bit like that.
It's a bit like that. Depends on certain games, yeah. Completely locked in our mind prison of what the hell am I doing? But
It's not exactly conducive to good relationships. Some of the games they destroy relationships. Some of the games.
But this is it. I ended up thinking, no, the next time these guys come down, I'm going to buy a board game. I'm just going to find it. And then I found XCOM, which is the worst possible board game.
It's like a gateway game.
Yeah, you would not pick XCOM the board game as a gateway game to inflict on non-gamers ever, because it's just. I mean, you've played it, right? I know you have. Have you played it?
I don't think I've ever actually played it. It's the one with the app, though, right? Where the aliens are like...
Yeah, so it's essentially like the video game. You control this organisation that's defending the globe from alien invasion. And you've all got different roles to play.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, it's one of the earlier ones that probably did.
Maybe I have played it. It was probably a long time ago if I did.
Yeah, so one's the commander. He's got control of all the budget and finances.
You work together.
Yes, co-op game. Yeah, one's the squad leader, has to organise all the troops to fight off the aliens. One's the communications specialist that no one wants to be, because it's the worst role, which controls the app and does all the satellites. Firing off the UFOs in space.
It's like the radio operator in
And then the scientist is the other one who's doing all the research for tech and making everyone basically better. And you're all working together and it's real time. So you've got this clock that's kind of ticking down. It's like, right, scientist, research 2. Right, commander, deploy your interceptors. Right, so-and-so, do this. How much money have I got? And it's chaos, right? Because you've got 4 seconds to make a decision.
Real time, like Captain Sonar. I'm starting to connect up some dots here.
But it just causes stress. It's like, oh my God, crisis, pick one. I don't know what the game is. Help. And yeah, so bless our friends who were inflicted on this. But they actually enjoyed it.
But this is what I love. Like, the beauty of this is that, like you were saying, Chris, like, whether it's a co-op game or a competitive game, it's still going to lead to frayed tempers and the destruction of relationships rather than building bonds. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you're playing against each other or with each other. The outcome is the same. It's like, I don't want to see you for at least a few weeks now.
Right. And it's just one of them things. And I think that for me was the catalyst, as I mentioned on the last episode. It was the game that got me into more games. It's the game that introduced the dreaded product catalogue and then said, look, all the games you could buy. And then I did. I bought Game of Thrones, and then I bought Manchester Madness, and I bought Star Wars Rebellion. And then obviously I've known Chris for ages now, and I thought there's a game you'd like. So I started to buy games that I think the people I know would enjoy. And then pull them into this forum.
Come into my web.
And it just got to a point where we were playing kind of games regularly and every now and then, and you know, probably like once every 3 months kind of thing, which just seems mad now to think that, oh my God.
Yeah, just imagine you just there, just sweating, just like, this is not enough. We're not playing enough games.
But generally, like, the feeling of getting that game to the table and experiencing that was just amazing. Like, I was thinking, oh my God, did not know this sort of stuff existed. And I just wanted to share it with everybody. I was like, right, everyone, you need to get involved with this.
It's so classic though, isn't it? Like, anytime you like discover a new hobby or a new interest, like, you're really enthusiastic about it and you want to tell all your friends and all your family, everyone you know.
Regardless if they like it, right?
Yeah, this thing is, I think it's brilliant. And they're thinking, yeah, okay, all right.
It's just cardboard.
Just like calm it down a little bit.
I'm not sure it was like a male thing. Like, we do sort of just focus on that and get obsessed and collect. It's like going back to like sticker albums.
Yeah. I mean, I think fundamentally we're probably just more like children, aren't we? We're just like,
never grown up.
We're never going to actually be proper adults. No. We're still going to want to play with our toys. It's just now your toys are 600 quid's worth of too many babes.
Neoprene and poker chips, rather than Lego.
Exactly. You don't have to wait for your birthday or Christmas to get a new game. You just order up those Kickstarters day after day after day.
Loving life. Keep doing it. It's all good. But no, I think kind of going back to that is just those initial games of, like, say we used to play Rebellion, and I just felt like, you know what would be really good is if we had some structure to this. You know, and for me,
here we go. JP, the project manager, is coming out.
I have an insight into that. Obviously, I was indoctrinated into that, and
it's a good word. It's the right word.
Or invited.
Yeah.
No. Indoctrinated is correct.
And I really enjoyed it. It was such an experience, and it made me want to do it more. That's why I went and started looking at other games and stuff. And there was no point getting Star Wars because JP had it, but I think I went out and got Battlestar out off the back of that. I think JP got to the point where he decided he wanted to have someone else that he could beat because he kept losing at Rebecca.
It's true. It's true.
Shots fired.
This is a common theme of anything. Like I think the same thing happened with squash.
Yeah.
I introduced it to
JP gets into something, introduces other people, they then start beating it. JP doesn't like it anymore, moves on to something else.
Eject out of hobby. Except I haven't with this. It's just the games I change. But yeah, no, that is completely true. I'm not the most amazing player, but I just like to have fun.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Nothing wrong with that.
But no, going back
loser.
Going back to the point of gaming groups. So I kind of felt that I wanted to kind of organise the sporadic gaming events that we were having, and I think I said to you, Ian, probably way back. So if I set up a group, would you? Jump in, and probably said the same to you, Kris. Like, if we set something up, and would you jump in? And
if you hold it, they will come.
Yeah. If you hold the gaming event, then hopefully people will show up. And then we set up a Facebook group.
Yeah, I think it just literally started on Facebook, didn't it?
Facebook, and it still is on Facebook, much to our annoyance sometimes. And it was just it's box standard Facebook group, and we didn't have like a regular gaming night per se. We would just pick a game and we'll pick the night we wanted to play that game. Mainly me, my selfish reasons. All the games that I'd started to accumulate, which probably at that time was 4, which just seems, again, mad looking around me.
Again, at the time, that probably felt like a lot. You're like, blimey, I've really gone full into this. I've bought 4 board games.
I've really gone deep.
I'm just looking behind me and there's 2 whole shelves of Kallax just with Nemesis on it.
Yeah.
And this is just hidden away out in the man cave.
It's more over there. So it's essentially just setting up the old Facebook group and setting up the events of specific games and seeing who wanted to play. And it's just really grown from there, hasn't it? We still do that same system now. We just pick the game, we set it up, see who wants to play, get the players, and organise it from there.
Yeah, and I think it grew pretty organically, didn't it? Like you say, that format just worked quite well. It was like whoever owned the game would set up an event because they want to play the game they bought and want to justify the fact they've spent the money on it.
Spent 50 quid, I want to get my money's worth.
But then everyone could just jump in if they wanted to jump in, and like loads of nights started springing up, and there was kind of that like initial period where it really gathered a lot of speed, even though there was still relatively few of us still in the group. There was like multiple nights a week sometimes. There was a lot of gaming happening.
Yeah, I now have to have a word with myself at some point and said, you need to calm this down. You've got work to do. Working 9 to 5 as a job and then gaming 4 nights a week probably be a little bit too much. But nah, I loved it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, who needs to, see the family, look after your kids?
And my 2 children.
Yeah, secondary concerns.
So that's kind of how we started to grow. And then naturally we had 4 or 5 people in the group, grew to like 7, 8, and now we're 25.
Is it that many now?
We've got 25 in the group. We've got various different people of regular attendees.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of people in the group who haven't necessarily met other people.
Absolutely, and people who like different things and who would jump in, and so we got a complete different mix now, and that's just grown from friends of friends of friends.
Yeah,
and that's just been great just to get those kind of people jumping to the table and meeting all sorts of different people. And
it's amazing what comes out of the woodwork, isn't it? It's like there's 2 ways it goes when you have that conversation where someone's like, what sort of things you're into, or what you're up to at the weekend, or what you're doing tonight. And it's like, if you say, I'm going to go and play this board game with my board gaming group that I'm in, and you either get that kind of blank stare where you're like, oh, okay, I'm never allowed to talk to you again now, am I? Or they'll say, what sort of games are you into? And suddenly you find out, this is a person who either is a board gamer, or they know their husband, wife, partner is a board gamer, or they've got friends who game. And it just kind of like grows from there. And it's weird because board gaming, I suppose, is still seen as something of a niche hobby. And even throughout like the pandemic, when there was a huge resurgence, wasn't there, in board gaming, because people couldn't go out and do stuff, they were buying board games and playing them at home. But still, I think people don't understand, like you were saying, JP, just the depth and breadth of what there is in the hobby, and like the different corners of board gaming. Like people just think that board games are I don't know, I suppose Euros is basically what people think serious board gaming is. It's just there's a board with pieces on it,
cubes,
and you're doing things
in the Mediterranean,
manipulating resources. But it's like, well, no, it could be everything from like, pencil and paper RPGs all the way through to like dexterity games or like party games or all of these other different genres. And like, I think if more people expose themselves to it, they'd find a little piece of it that they like.
Choose your words wisely. So
is he getting his style out again?
So I'm amazed that you're up front and tell people that quite quickly, because it's a dark secret for me. It's one of the last things I tell someone, just because I know I'm going to be judged.
I mean, I've got things I'm way more ashamed of than being into board gaming, so it's not too much of a problem.
But the majority of people you tell have no understanding at all. And it's just like...
That's the case with most niche hobbies, right?
You've got to get them to play something to even make it any sort of understanding.
Exactly. But these days, like, we're spoiled, right, in that regard, in that if you can just get someone to come along once... There's so many great gateway games now that didn't exist 10, 15, 20 years ago. Like now the fact that you could pull someone in and say, right, let's play Azul or let's play Cockroach Poker or Avalon or Pie Game, Sushi Go Pie or something like that. Like there's just so many options. And then from there, people are like, oh, I like this and I like that. And you go, oh, well, if you like that, you might like this. And you get a big box out of your Kallax and go, yeah, there you go. There's something a bit more crunchy. And before you know it, they're the ones asking you, like, oh, can we do an all-weekend TI marathon? Can we play an 8-player?
And then you go, I know I have made it.
Yeah, exactly. my quest is successful.
No, exactly. But I think let's just kind of quickly kind of talk about, some of the hints and tips then. So the people that are starting, maybe you just discovered this amazing hobby that we're all in, and you're now trying to inflict all these games onto your wife, your partner, your family members. And let's face it, they might play, but maybe they just don't share the same enthusiasm as you do. Yeah, hence was my story. And now you're kind of going, how do I scratch that itch more? Because it's not realistic to get your family, wife, partner, etc., to play 3 times a week.
I mean, you might be lucky in that, your interests and preferences overlap perfectly, and your partner
and we salute you,
or family, are just as into it as you are, and in that case, we are jealous. But
that is
more than likely,
exactly.
That's Becky and Curly, though, isn't it?
Yeah, true. But even they're into very different kinds of games, So like, I feel like when they both play the same game, one of them is compromising at least.
Yes.
In terms of like what they would prefer to be playing.
Unless it's Terraforming Mars.
And then they're both over the moon. But if you're not successful in managing to find a life partner who will play games with you, because most people's family and children and immediate family, yes, they'll play this game with you, but you will just know that they don't want to play it again. And they will if you ask them to, but they don't want to. So it's kind of like you don't necessarily want your gaming partners to be there under duress. Although, I mean, I'm sure JP would take what he could get.
I'll always take what you get.
You'd play something with a dog if you could, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Get him to...
They still beat me.
Yeah, well, exactly.
I do have to bribe the kids to play with me. I think my Father's Day treat last year was that they'd play Game of Thrones Risk with me.
Yeah.
And it was not the same when they're under duress.
You've tied them to the chairs.
No, if like for me, I get my enjoyment from other people at the table. If I know that they're just thinking, oh God, when will this end? Like, I'm not going to get any satisfaction from that personally.
I mean, you must find quite a few of our gaming nights unsatisfying then.
Yeah, so that's a story from another time. But now I think kind of going back to like hints and tips for people, how do they get out if they don't know anyone? To kind of game with, well, what are the avenues
I think there's lots of different options, and like what's going to work for you is going to vary drastically depending on where in the world you are and what kind of place you live in and all that kind of stuff. But the number one thing that doesn't matter where you are, the internet's fantastic, obviously, for this, for meeting people who have the same interests as you. So there's any number of thousands of board gaming Facebook groups and Reddits and all other weird and wonderful corners of the internet where board gamers meet up. And there's also lots of like platforms online to play board games without even having to leave your home. So I know again, during the pandemic, I ended up playing a lot on Board Game Arena.
Yeah, great.
Which has got a pretty decent, and it's getting better all the time, array of proper board games. You know, a lot of the lighter stuff. I don't think you can play Twilight Imperium on there, but there's a lot of good stuff.
There's some of the heavier stuff on there.
Yeah, there's some decent stuff on there, and you can always take a step further on that, and look at Tabletop Simulator or something like that on Steam. So I would say
it does have Twilight Imperium.
Which does have Twilight Imperium, but I don't think I would. I find it hard to play TI in the flesh. If I had to play it on Tabletop Simulator, I think I would lose my mind. It would take longer to play than it does in real life, even with the setup.
Yeah.
So I think the table would get flipped pretty quickly. But so I would suggest look around online, see if you can find board gaming groups that interest you. And if you get involved in those communities and those groups, inevitably you'll eventually bump into some people who are like, oh, we only live down the road from you, or we're just in the next town over. And before you know it, there you go. You've made a connection. You can start to kind of network with other gamers.
Yeah, I think the Facebook group that I would recommend kind of people jumping in, and this is probably more UK based to be fair, is the Board Game Trading and Chat UK Facebook group.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, it has, I don't know how many people, over 100,000 people in there.
Certainly tens of thousands.
Yeah, and there's a good array of gamers in that group all over the country. And even I posted on there just to try and expand our group a little bit, because sometimes we struggle with getting certain games or specific games to the table, and it's just good to kind of expand the ranks. That gives us all more options to play. And I would just say, get on there, get active, start working out who's where. And it might be quite a scary thing for people to do, to kind of post and say, hello, I've just got in a hobby, I don't really know much about it, and I want to play, and who's in my area. And that might be quite, like putting yourself out there a little bit, but actually as a group, they tend to look after kind of new players very well. It's not like some Facebook groups where I would not recommend you do anything and you'll just get sniped and trolled forever. But no, they are very active. Their administrators are very on it to make sure that people are.
No, for sure. I mean, that group specifically is, just full of really good people. So, like, you don't need to worry about some of the things you might legitimately worry about with the internet in general.
Yeah.
But even, further afield than that, in general, the whole hobby is pretty awesome, I would say, compared to the average. I mean, nothing's ever perfect, obviously, and there's going to be dark and dingy little corners of gaming where maybe there's some people you don't want to hang out with, but for the most part, everyone's very nice.
There's a knowing look there.
It's just glanced over Chris when I said that.
Why is he looking at you?
But no, it's generally very welcoming, because it's, again, like any niche hobby, it's in everyone's interest to make new people feel welcome, because that's the only way things are going to grow, is to get new people into it.
Yeah. Definitely use meetups, but Meetup, there's an app you can kind of search for great groups there. They're all over the place. I was in London working and I was checking, I wonder if there's a gaming group or something nearby that I can kind of jump on. Yeah, there's about 50 million. There's just so many, so much choice. So, check those out. I think there's just, like I said, the internet is a mysterious and wondrous piece of technology. And I think it is probably the easiest time to find that group.
Yeah.
Or find the people that you want to kind of game with.
If that isn't your cup of tea, if you're not so much an internet person, I mean, firstly, why are you listening to a podcast? But, whatever. But the other option...
Check out a radio station.
Yeah, why not listen to the wireless? Getting your news via Morse code. But if for whatever reason you want to go down a different route, obviously local game shops are a great way to meet other gamers, and almost every town now has at least one game shop, and many have got, as well as that, game cafes and special events and days run at things like libraries and schools out of hours and stuff for board gaming. So there's lots and lots of events like that as well that you can check out. And I mean, even just going down to your local game store and just having a mosey about, see what they've got, ask someone at the counter, just say, like, do you run board gaming nights? Do you have like meetups? Do you, and just see who you meet down there. You might just bump into people that suddenly it's like, oh, well, let's have a quick game. Let's, But yeah, no. So like local game stores are definitely an avenue to explore. If nothing else, you can just have a mosey about and have a look at what games there are, because it's nice to see things in the flesh, I think, rather than just and JP under his covers looking at his FFG catalogue every night with a torch. Oh, look at that! That looks nice.
Look at what I can buy, and I will buy.
Your wife's just like, turn that torch off.
Yeah. What are you looking at? Illicit photos? No, it's a board game cover. And on that bombshell. So no, I think literally get out there, put yourself out there, ask those questions, and try and game, and don't force people into playing games that don't want to play them, because it never works out.
It never works out.
And that's
you've got to make a bit of a leap. That's the point.
Yeah.
You've got to make a bit of a leap, but you will find that there are so many more people who are receptive to this than you would think.
I was the same though when I kind of set the group up. I was thinking, God, are people going to do this? Is this going to fall on its arse? Is it going to work? And you talk yourself out of doing so many things so easily. It's just ignore that, just do it, because actually you'll find that most people will actually want to do it.
Yeah, and also it's like anything like this when you're trying to start something new. Don't worry about doing it right. Just do it.
Just do it.
Even if everything goes wrong, even if you play Battlestar and something terrible happens that no one will ever forget or forgive, then you can still recover from that, and you can still grow a group and have a good time. So yeah, just starting is the hardest part. Yep. So just start.
So, question time. We have got a question in from our very own James Davey. Thanks, Davey.
Is it, are you evil?
Are you evil? If so,
are you Merlin?
And I'm not enjoying this. Bless him. Those are some catchphrases for our friend Davey, which I'm sure you'll meet very soon. I think it'll actually be the next episode.
I think it's the next episode.
It is, yeah.
So he can explain what he's not enjoying and why he's not enjoying it.
And why he's not evil.
Or that he's not evil, or that you are evil.
Yes. Anyway, so his question was, do certain designers get your juices flowing? I.e., is there certain designers of games that you look out for? And if so, why?
No, let's move on.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, you don't care.
Do you know what? I'm sure that there probably are. I'm sort of shamefully ignorant, perhaps, of sometimes who the designers are of the games that I'm playing, which I'm sure I'm not the only one. There'll be people out there who can empathise with that. But there are definitely individual games where the designer or the developer has done an incredibly good job, and you can appreciate it even without knowing who they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't drop any specific names, although I've got a lot of respect for Damon Stone, who was the lead designer on Netrunner for a long time. But beyond that, it's just the games that I enjoy. So whoever designed those games, that's who gets my juices flowing.
I like them. I think for me, it's more the publisher, but the brothers Carlson of Josh and Adam, who set up Chip Theory Games and therefore came out with various different games, one of them Too Many Bones, unsurprisingly. But anything that they kind of lend their hand to, whether that's Cloud Spire, whether that's the kind of Burn Cycle, which is a new one that's coming literally in about a month's time, Hoplomachus and various other games that they work on, I'm instantly interested. I will just check them out. And again, it's just more neoprene and poker chips more than anything, because I've not got enough of that, clearly. Those are two designers that I kind of respect and follow. Other than that, I think the Richard Arman and Victor Peaton from Mindclash Games, hopefully I've got the names right, and also David Turtsey, who designed Anachrony. And David Turtsey is a genius in kind of game design, in my opinion, and some of the mechanics and things that he puts together just blows my mind. Like Anachrony in itself is, like, if you've ever played it, you probably haven't.
No, I haven't.
It's very heavy. It's a very heavy
developing.
It's a very heavy worker placement, time travel kind of game, and yeah, it's just clever the way it's pulled together. But again, it's Mindclash Games that kind of tick my boxes in terms of the kind of games that they produce. So those are the ones that spring to mind. There were loads that actually were for games that I have designers, obviously most of them, that I haven't played, such as Vital Lacerda, who has done many, many very, very complex games, such as Kanban, and Lisboa and various other games. I'd love to try them, but I haven't yet got to kind of try them. So it's one. I know the designer. I've heard the prestigious information about the designer, but I've never actually tried any of their games. So I'd like to try some of those.
So how does it evolve then? Because presumably, would you choose a game just solely on who's designed it then?
I have done, yeah. So sometimes I will take a punt on a game based on the designer because I like their previous work. So an example of that would be Fister Games. So he's done Great Western Trail. I had a punt on Maracaibo. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. We played that.
And he's got other ones out there, Boone Lake and others, which I'd happily try. Just knowing how he kind of meshes the games up and how he designs them, I think I would enjoy them. So yeah, I wouldn't say I have to get them all. I have to tell myself this: don't buy all the games that a designer's published because it's just madness.
Or at least not yet.
Not yet. But some of them it has happened, and I feel like I want to collect them all like Pokemon. But there we go.
So how does it all filter down then? Where did the first time you hear about a game then that you learned?
I think it's just more experimenting with the different games that are out there, and then learning. Actually, this one's designed by so and so, and as you get more in the hobby, you'll start to kind of understand.
This is the thing, Chris. When you buy and own as many games as JP does,
I've seen a different side to him tonight.
Yeah, it's like asking someone, how do you figure out what craft beer you like or what wine you like? It's like, well, if you're down the pub every single night, you basically just figure it out in the end. You know what you like.
It's true. Thanks for the question, Davey. It's obviously we're asking our internal gaming group the questions, and you'll probably hear that common theme as we start. But we want to hear from you, our listeners. We want your questions. So interact with us on our Facebook page and ask those questions to us, and we'll get them on the show. And look forward to that. Okay, so it's time to wrap this episode up and talk about our penultimate turn. So, Chris, what are you looking forward to? What's on your horizon?
Well, as
gaming, non-gaming, generally life.
As Ian alluded to, we're going to be doing some Crokinole.
Yes, these are the two events I booked at your house.
Yeah, and
it's Crokinole 1 and Crokinole 2, the Crokinole, is it?
Yes, I think that's what I went for. Well, I didn't want to put up two events that were both just called Crokinole because then I thought people might get confused. So I put different background images in them as well.
Yeah. I was very impressed.
I was thinking.
Yeah. Good man.
But I went with the horror film naming convention for Crokinole 2, the Crokinole.
So it's always good to get everyone around, and I'm looking forward to that. To get practicing for Crokinole for the tournament that Ian's holding.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
And really pleased to get some people around because
we've not had it, have we? It's been a while. Yeah. Now looking forward to that.
It can be patchy sometimes, can't it? It's like even if there's lots of events running, sometimes it's like they fill up or they're not quite the game you want to play, and so you can go like a few weeks without dipping in something. Yeah. So when that happens, it's really nice to then have something to look forward to and everyone's going to be coming around for that one, especially when it's Crokinole.
I think it's good though. I love Crokinole. Seeing events that are up in the gaming group that are not just mine. Because let's face it, I'll probably have the monopoly of 80% of the events that are up there. And I genuinely mean this. It's good that other people are just putting them in because I can't attend everything, especially at the minute. But yeah, it's great to see you doing
You
that.
can try though.
I can,
and you do.
I try, but I can't because life and family and work get in the way.
Say life, you mean wife and children.
Yeah.
Damn them
with my gaming. No, I love them really. So yeah, cool. What about you, Ian?
Like Chris said, also looking forward to getting some Crokinole in. I've not really played much through the pandemic. I mean, at the beginning of COVID, I was playing some sort of remote Crokinole with people.
I did hear this.
Yeah, so I had we all had this kind of janky tripod set up above the board. Yeah. We'd take our shots and then we'd be on a Zoom call with the other player who would then put the disc where our shot ended and we'd kind of go back and forth like that. It was about as painful as it sounds because sometimes they put it and you'd be like, not quite there, no, a little bit to the right, no, not that right, the other right, and then you realise the image is flipped and it will be. So it took a long time to play a game of Crokinole that way. So that kind of petered out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But now that, the world's starting to open up a bit again, looking forward to getting some more Crokinole in. And like Kris mentioned, we've just released tickets for the first ever UK Crokinole Championship.
Yes.
That's going to be happening at the UK Gaming Expo in June. So, tickets are on sale now. I can't remember what the web address is because I'm extremely unprofessional, but I'm sure JP will put it in the show notes. So, we've got 32 tickets on sale as of today. I think we have 19 remaining, so not many tickets left. So
I've got one of them.
Yeah, I know you have. And you've got another one.
Yeah, nice.
But really excited to be doing that. We've managed to get some cooperation from Jeremy over at Tracy Boards in Ontario, as well as James from Masters of Games up London Way.
Brilliant.
And they're putting up a Tracy tour board as a raffle prize. So everyone who enters the first ever UK Crokinole Championship will have the opportunity of an equal chance to win.
1 in 32 chance.
Basically, yes. Unless, if we sell out those 32, I'm not promising, but we might be able to increase to perhaps 64 players. But no promises. But that's all very exciting. And I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to actually play or whether I'll be limited to organising. I would like to play, but it's shaping up to be quite a logistical nightmare. So we'll see how things go.
I'll be ashamed if you can't, but I understand.
I'm not too bothered either way because, if I don't play, if I don't play, then I can just be like, I probably would have won, but I couldn't play, could I? And then I've got an excuse. Whereas if I play and then lose, then I'll be annoyed. But I'm excited about that, and also just getting to see a bunch of new Crokinole people that I've probably not met before. We do have a Crokinole UK Facebook group as well, and it's been quite active recently, and there's lots of new people getting into that game. So I would thoroughly recommend Crokinole to everyone.
I'd say check that out, get your ticket if you've not already got it, and the fact that you're on at the expo is amazing. Could you find a better place to kind of run this?
It's just ideal. I mean, brilliant. We had it lined up for 2020, and obviously we all know what happened in 2020. Everything was ready to go. So it's been it feels like I've been waiting 3 years to get this event launched. And it's just really exciting because I think we can go from strength to strength from here. I've been trying to do a lot to bring together people who play Crokinole in the UK. So, the chance to have a flagship event and crown a champion is pretty exciting.
Brilliant. I think for me, we've got Eclipse tomorrow. Looking forward to that. It's been a while since I've got that to the table. Really do enjoy that game. So that's happening. Also, I've got a playthrough of Anunnaki, Dawn of the Gods, which is a new game, not even released. It's coming to Kickstarter this year. I think probably next month or something like that. I'm fortunate enough to go and play that with Paul Grogan from Gaming Rules.
Check you out. I know. With your industry connection.
I've now got an industry connection, everyone. It's amazing. It means I get to play games that haven't been released. And generally, if you haven't kind of heard of Paul, check his YouTube channel out, Gaming Rules. It's really good.
Yeah, I've watched some of his videos. They're really, really good.
Yeah, it's very, very good at doing anything kind of gaming. He's been in the industry for a long, long time, and he knows his stuff. So definitely check him out. But this game is quite intriguing. I'm going to read the Board Game Geek strapline that was kind of on there. It says, develop your alien civilization among ancient human tribes, gods, and space travel.
Ooh, wow.
So essentially, you are an alien race that settled on ancient times. And
okay, so this is kind of like
who built the pyramids?
Aliens built the pyramids kind of thing. Yeah, okay, cool.
So, and it's a Euro game. I think it has minis involved, but it's not really kind of minis fighting game. It's a proper Euro game at heart, probably a bit like Eclipse in that respect. So looking forward to it. Just good to kind of play new stuff, really. And I love experimenting in games, as you all know. Yeah. So that's happening. And then the last thing is in preparation for our next episode, which is going to be a feature and a game focused on Nemesis, the game, because we all talk about it. We want to give it the spotlight. We want to talk about Nemesis and kind of what it means to everyone. And
I'm looking over my shoulder at it right now. When I say it, I mean 6 or 7 boxes of Nemesis.
So I'm looking forward to that. But in preparation for that, we are playing one of the expansions, which is the Void Seeders expansion. So we played the core game, we played the Carnomorphs, and now we're going to give the Void Seeders a go, which are an alien race that specialise. If you think Event Horizon, the film,
Okay.
so very much more manipulating your mind state than actual physical horror.
Sounds right up your alley.
Yeah, sounds like Arkham horror.
No, it just sounds like you building a gaming group.
Yeah, absolutely. Inflicting horror upon fortunate souls.
Just a social experiment, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
That's it.
It's a social experiment that went too far. Now we can't stop it.
Cannot stop. So now I'm looking forward to getting out to the table, and we'll talk about that more on the next episode. So I think we got there.
Yeah, I think that's another episode in the bag. Technically, this is episode 1.
Yeah, we've got our first episode in the bag. So so with that, we'll wrap up and we'll count the victory points. And again, thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and review on your podcast player of choice. And if you want to find out more about the show, you can check us out on our website, whosturn.co.uk, and our Facebook page, Whose Turn Is It Anyway podcast. And we'll be back again 2 weeks' time with another episode. So until then, whose turn is it?